Well, sometimes the numbers show strong plays on one side or the other. Sometimes it's a little more murky. Let's take a look at some of those games in Week 14 to see where the pros are leaning. The Chief Product Officer at the Quant Edge, Eliot Crist, joins us, along with Frank Stampfl of SportsGrid. Eliot, I'm going to start things off with you here because the Saints are 2.5-point favorites at home against the Niners, and that elite pass rush that the Niners bring to the table. Is that a concern for New Orleans because they could be down a couple of offensive linemen?
That's the reason that this is a lean and not a play for me. You know, Armstead and Pete are guys I want at least one of, because the Saints have been top 7 at protecting their quarterback. The 49ers are the best team in the league at getting to the quarterback. You know, if you can neutralize that, I think the Saints have a real advantage in this game. I think Michael Thomas, Alvin Kamara, you can attack the 49ers in that way. And the Saints are also just money at home. You know, they're 20-4 straight up. It's less than 3 points. The Saints at home, basically less than 3 points against anyone, would get the sharp money. But that offensive line situation is why it's a lean more so for me than an actual play.
Yeah, and I think that there's actually going to be pressure on both sides here. Both of these teams come in here top 4 in pressure rate so far this season. And Jimmy Garoppolo, we've seen him falter under pressure at times. That Monday Night Football game against the Seattle Seahawks comes to mind. When he's been under pressure this season, he has a 65.8 passer rating. That is 27th among quarterbacks this season. So, yes, there's concern over the Saints' offensive line, but as the Saints bring pressure on Jimmy Garoppolo, I think that we can kind of see him falter against that as well. And we know that San Fran wants to run the football. They have the second highest rush percentage in the NFL at 51.1%. The Saints are 6th in run defense DVOA. They've been tough on the run all season long, dating back to last year as well. So I think that this offensive game plan is going to be a tough one for Kyle Shanahan to figure out.
All right, let's take a look at the Titans. They are 2.5-point road favorites in Oakland. This Tennessee team has found success with Ryan Tannehill, but is it Ryan Tannehill, or is it because he's taking advantage of the ground attack that Derrick Henry is providing? Frank, look at these numbers. He is averaging 165 yards a game over the past 3 games. You don't want to get in the way of Derrick Henry right now.
No, you do not. The way that he is playing,
I don't think we would want to get in the way of Derrick Henry ever.
Nobody wants to get in the way of Derrick Henry. I mean, this is a linebacker in a running back's body.
Right.
I mean, his explosiveness, his ability to make plays and break out long runs, but given his physicality as well, it's just so hard to bring down. And I think those things kind of go hand in hand, right? So obviously, when you have a running attack as good as the Tennessee Titans and Derrick Henry, it makes life easier for Ryan Tannehill, and we've seen that so far this season. He is leading the NFL in yards per pass attempt and NFL passer rating. Since he has taken over as the starting quarterback, the Titans are averaging 29.7 points per game, as when they were with Mariota, they were just 16.3 points per game. So that offense, I think that they've really gone hand in hand. Derrick Henry and Ryan Tannehill have really been playing off each other.
Well, and Eliot actually drafted Ryan Tannehill in fantasy football this year, so clearly, Ryan, you must have seen something in Ryan Tannehill at the beginning of the season, and it's coming to fruition for you right now, Eliot.
Yeah, I mean, last round of a super flex draft, you know, in June, because I didn't believe in Marcus Mariota. But yeah, I mean, the Titans have played really good.
Look what's happened.
The Titans have played excellent football, and the Raiders are falling apart. And Josh Jacobs has been playing with a fractured shoulder. He might not be able to go. He's been a big cog. The one concern I have with the Titans is I hope Adoree Jackson's going to play in this one, because the numbers with and without him, he's their top corner. He can neutralize Tyrell Williams, and then the Raiders, I don't even know how they would move the ball against the Titans.
There just isn't a game plan that's going to work.
I mean, you're talking about having the better team with the better quarterback, the better run game, probably the better coach, and then the only thing the other team can beat you with is Hunter Renfrow and Darren Waller. I'm going to take my chances there.
The Steelers are giving 2.5 to the Cardinals in Arizona. The Steelers are going to be without James Conner and Juju Smith-Schuster. How much of an impact will the Sharps see in that game because of that?
Well, we're actually seeing money come in on the Arizona Cardinals right now. They have been a bet-on team all season long, but I really worry about Kyler Murray in this spot, because if you look at 2 of his worst games this season, they've come against the New Orleans Saints and then last week against the Los Angeles Rams. What do those 2 teams have in common? They bring a lot of pressure. That's exactly what the Pittsburgh Steelers do as well. You know, they are 3rd in the NFL in total sacks. They are 1st in the NFL in pressures per game. So we know that the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to get after Kyler Murray in this spot. The Cardinals don't have a great offensive line. You know, you would feel better about it if one of or both James Conner and Juju were active for this game. But Pittsburgh has been competitive in games even without them. And, right now, you don't feel great about laying money with a quarterback nicknamed Duck Hodges, but he has a rapport right now with James Washington. He's making plays down the field, and the Cardinals have the worst statistical defense in the league, allowing over 426 yards per game. I think the Steelers are going to be able to make some plays.
Now, is it true that Duck Hodges is the world's duck calling champion?
I believe that is correct. And he also went, I believe, duck hunting with James Washington, which has helped them develop the rapport both on and off the field.
How do you inject that into the Quant Edge algorithm?
We have yet to master the duck hunting chemistry that goes along with wide receiver and quarterbacks. But Hodges has been better than Rudolph. There's really no arguments about it. And the Steelers aren't winning based on great quarterback play. They're winning based on offensive line dominating the line of scrimmage and playing excellent defense. And the Cardinals, like Frank mentioned, their defense has been the worst in the league against quarterbacks from fantasy points allowed, and the worst in the league against tight ends and fantasy points allowed. They've really just elevated everybody's play. So I think the Steelers are the better team here. And at the end of the day, give me the better team.
All right, we were talking about the Texans earlier. They're now favored by 9.5 over Denver. This over-under also, by the way, at 43.5. The Broncos have given up the most chunk plays. Chunk plays are 20-plus yard plays in the NFL. They've given up 62 of them this year. Eliot, do you think that is going to play a big role in this game?
Oh, yeah, that's bad news bears if you're going up against DeAndre Hopkins, Kenny Stills, Will Fuller, and Deshaun Watson. Yeah. And, if you're worried about the Texans taking their foot off the gas if they get up big, they pass at the 5th highest rate when they lead by 9 points. So they keep throwing the ball. They're going to take shots down the field. If Chris Harris takes away Hopkins, the Texans' second and third receivers are as good as any team in the NFL. Von Miller's questionable in this one, too. So, last year when he didn't play, the sack rate went from 8.2% to 3.8%. So they basically don't pressure the quarterback without him. They're already missing Bradley Chubb. If you don't pressure Deshaun Watson, you give him time, he will pick you apart. On the other side of the ball, the Broncos pass about 67% of the time when they're down by 9. So you have a lot of pass attempts, and the number of 43.5 is just far too low for that number of pass attempts.
Is there an over-under on the duration of this game? Because we could have 140 pass attempts in this game. It could be a 4.5-hour game, depending on that. All right, that's a look at how the pros are leaning for some of the Week 14 games. Make sure you check out sportsline.com for the latest line movement as well. Eliot Crist of Quant Edge, Frank Stampfl of SportsGrid. Thanks for your insights. This is Fanalysis.